Today we are doing farmhouse and French country decor DIYs. They're simple and inexpensive using items I picked up at the thrift store or at the discount stores. This first piece I purchased at a thrift store. I paid under $5 for it. I don't remember exactly how much. I'm not sure what it is. I think it might be a paperweight or something. We're just going to clean it up real quick, and then we're going to get a fresh coat of paint on it. Now I'm starting with a base. I'm using this Fusion mineral paint, and I'm using this as a base. I'm going to cover the whole thing in French eggshell. And there you see, with the magic of the camera, it's already done. Okay, so this is a new thing. I have seen people use soap to do their distressing, so I decided to try it. And I'm using a bar of ivory soap here, and I'm getting all of the corners of this block. And after I do all of the corners, I'm going to go ahead and do the face of it. And it's supposed to help when you go to use the sandpaper to distress it. It's supposed to make it easier. So that's all done, and then you do want to wipe some of that soap off because it does get a little messy. And then now I'm going to take the plaster. Plaster is my go-to color from Waverly. This is chalk paint, and I'm painting over the French eggshell. Dry it. All right, so we're going to give it a sand here, and I'm sanding all of the edges, and then I'm going to sand the face of it also. So I did another coat of the plaster because I wasn't happy with just the two coats. So I did another coat, dried it, and now I am sanding it. And I am happy with this. And this is where I put a lot of the soap, so I didn't have to sand it very much. So I do think that helps. So with using the soap, I mean, we are still sanding, but it's coming off a lot easier, and it seems to be a little easier to control. So there you can see how I've distressed the face of it there, and I do like the way that I like the blue showing underneath of it. So now I purchased these glass knobs from Amazon, and I'm going to glue those on with some Titebond. Don't put too much on. And yes, I have links below for everything that I'm using today that I can put links to that you can buy. I also have these molds here, and I'm going to be using the paper clay, and we're going to make a design on the front of this block. And if you're interested, these molds will be linked also below. They're also from Amazon, and I do have an Amazon shop, and I will have that linked below too if you want to look at all the items that I have in my craft section. Again, we are using my Titebond here, and the key here is that you want to use a real thin layer. You don't want it to kind of squirt out the side. You also want to be very careful because you don't want to ruin your design, so you want to pat it on there very carefully. Again, I'm just taking the French eggshell and I am painting with a tiny brush all around the design. I'm painting a little bit around the outside, as you'll see also, and I'm painting inside all of the details, and I'm giving it that French blue color. The idea here is to make it look older, like it is a little bit faded in its color and kind of spread out, sort of. And then after we get all of this painted and we let that set up and dry for a while, I'd give it an hour or so. All right, so this is dry now. It's set up for a while, and the glue on the back and the paint on the front. And so now I'm just taking some white finishing wax, and I'm actually using the Jolie brand white finishing wax, and I'm just rubbing it into the design here, and that will kind of accentuate all of the detail there and give it kind of an aged look. I'm really loving this white wax. It's kind of become my new favorite thing. So after I wipe all of that on there, I am going to wipe it off, the excess, and then I'm also going to wipe the wax all over the piece to give it a finished look. And here's how it looks when it's all done. Okay, so I got this thrift store sign here. It was from Hobby Lobby originally. I'm filling that in because I'm not going to use that string to hang it. I'm going to use command hooks instead. I have the perfect place for this. I got this for $1.99. It was half off at the thrift store. I was so happy to get it, and you'll see what I do with it. All right, so this is lightweight spackling I've used. We're going to let this set for an hour or two. That's what it says. I actually think I let this set overnight. This sign is 6 inches tall by 16 inches wide. I'm measuring because I'm going to be using my Cricut. Once the spackling is dry, because there is spackling and because there's some words on it already, I'm going to sand it down real quick and give it kind of a, just start over with a new sanded clean surface here. I decided 2 coats and no distressed look. Okay, so I only have a 12 by 12 mat with my Cricut, so I could not print this out in its entirety. So I printed it out in pieces, and also the Y is a little bit wonky, so I cut that out separately after I printed it because I want to put that on by itself. I cut the vinyl on the Cricut 3 letters at a time, and so I made it 7.1 wide and I made it 4.7 high. And then I ended up cutting that Y out afterwards on its own to put it on by itself, so I had better control over that. So if you don't have a Cricut, you can find a stencil that would work. You could also find some larger stickers. They sell them in many different places now, not only in the craft stores, but sometimes you can find things like this in the dollar store or even at like Walmart or Target also. But if you do have a Cricut or you're just getting into using a Cricut, these large letters are really nice for like a beginning project because they're larger and they don't have a lot of intricate detail to them, so they're pretty easy to peel apart and put on a sign. The tricky part is getting it aligned properly on the sign itself. And I'm using permanent vinyl, and when it's done, you're probably going to want to use some kind of matte finish to seal it. You're going to see what I use in my next project. I'll show you one that I have. And here's the finished sign. I will show you at the end of this video how I styled these pieces. Okay, moving on here, I have these canisters that I purchased from Hobby Lobby. I only have 2 of them because I got them clearanced. And I don't really like the tops, so I'm taping them with paint and we're going to redo the tops. So this is a great thing you can do if you have something that you like one part of it but you don't like the other part of it. Just go ahead and DIY the part that you don't like and fix it up. So we're just going to remove those because those come off pretty easily. They're kind of flimsy and I don't really want to use them anyway. Next, they do have a protective coating on it, so I'm going to sand it down so that I can get that coating off of it so that the paint that I use will adhere to it a lot more easily. I'm painting with burnt umber here, and then once that's dry, after I'd give it a couple hours at least, maybe an hour, I don't know. If you have a heat gun, you won't need to wait as long, but this is a DuraClear Ultra Matte, and I'm going to use this to finish it and seal it. And so it's going to seal it, but it's going to give it a matte finish and it won't have a glossy finish. And I want to do that before I add the knobs to it. So now I'm going to take the Titebond and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my knobs to the top. And I think that these are much nicer than the other knobs. I think they give it an elegant look and it still has a farmhouse look. I think these glass knobs just kind of jazz it up a little bit. I think they're so pretty. All right, this is a piece that I did last year, and I would never been happy with the way it turned out. And so we're gonna just paint over it. This was something, little tray I got at the thrift store. So it's no big deal that I messed it up. And that's one of the things I want to say is sometimes when you get stuff at the thrift store, then you don't really have to be afraid when you've messed something up. You know, because you didn't spend a lot of money on it. All right, so I'm just kind of wiping this off because it's a little dusty. We are going to be using celery for this one today. This is kind of a sagey green. Probably going to do a couple coats here. All right, so I did end up doing 2 coats on the tray, and I'll show you everything in just a couple seconds here. And so I'm using the sage also, same thing on my molds. These are a couple different molds that I'm using now. I will also have these linked in the description box below. They're located in my Amazon shop. I'll put the link there too. Just in case you just want to click the link, you know, quickly, if you're interested. And I do make money off of my Amazon shop. I am an affiliate, so I do want to let you know that if you do purchase through those links, I do earn a commission. Of course, that's entirely up to you, and I just appreciate the fact that many of you will tune in to watch my videos. So now I'm doing the same thing with the Jolie White Wax. I'm using that to bring out the detail in these pieces here. And then we're going to take these. I actually made 4 of these. There's 4 that I'm going to put around the tray. Titebond again. I'm really into the Titebond lately. Now the key with these clay pieces is to make sure that they're thick enough that they will hold up, but thin enough that they don't stand out too bulky when you glue them onto a piece. And here's the finished product for that. All right, so this last project are these glass jars with the wood lids. I got these at the Target dollar spot. I'm using 3 of them, not 4 of them. Earlier in the year, I stained these with Minwax's medium walnut stain. I stained it when I was outside. If you do use a stain, please make sure you read the directions in safe handling. I really don't like to use stains, but I did want this color, so I did stain this earlier in the year when I could do so outside. And so that's the color that I used for that. So I'm doing the same thing again. I'm putting the glass knobs, like I said, really into these. I'm putting these on top, and I think it's going to make a nice, pretty display for some storage pieces. I hope you've enjoyed seeing how you can take some inexpensive or thrifted items and turn them into beautiful French country and farmhouse style home decor. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I will see you in the next video.